Story time on how I found out that my imaginary friend at 5 years old was real.
In today's video, we're going to be watching people talk about their paranormal experiences and what they went through while dealing with it. I'm not going to talk much in the video because I am getting a sore throat. So I'm not going to pause it a lot. I'll probably wait to the end of the video and give my opinion on it. But this video is for entertainment purposes only and allegedly.
I had an imaginary friend when I was 5 years old. So this was like 3 years ago, I want to say, something like that. It was paranormal day, and I was having a team meeting with my team, and my team lead was like, let's share some stories. Does anybody have stories to share? So everybody was sharing their story, and then it got to me. I told them I had an imaginary friend when I was 5, and it was so real to me. This is where it gets freaky, and pay attention, stay till the end, because your mind will be blown, I swear. First of all, there is a cemetery down the street from my childhood home, and my aunt didn't work too far from us, and not too far from the cemetery. We'd have to pass the cemetery to get to her work, and we would go pick her up. Well, whenever we would leave the house, sometimes my friend wasn't with me, so I would tell my mom, like, Mom, like, my friend, I'm not gonna say her real name, I'm gonna say her name is Lisa. I would tell her, Mom, Lisa's not in the truck, like, we have to go back and get her. And my mom at first was like, Jasmine, like, no, like stop playing. I'm like, no, Mom, for real. So I would get really mad and really sad. I would have to, like, I would make my mom turn around to go pick up my friend.
This is how my parents discovered that my oldest sister could see spirits, as my grandmother called them, haints. She had an imaginary friend, was the same way. Used to get upset if my mama didn't make a plate for her imaginary friend when they were sitting at the table, all those things. And as time went on, they discovered my sister could see ghosts. Is when my great grandmother passed away, and she told my parents that great grandma is gone, and they didn't believe her. And I just seen her in my room, and lo and behold, 10 minutes later they called and told my mom my great grandmother had passed away. So I believe in spirits and ghosts because I have stories of my own that I can tell, and my sister definitely can see them.
When we would be getting to my house, I would say, oh no, never mind, Lisa's already here. And my mom was like, what the heck, dude? Like, okay, whatever. One day my mom says that I told her, Mom, look, that's where my friend lives. That's where she told me she lives. And my mom was like, oh, really? And then I'm like, yeah. And I'm pointing at the cemetery. Mind you, I'm 5 years old. What 5-year-old knows what a cemetery is, right? Imaginary friend was so serious for me. At the time, my whole neighborhood would kind of play together. All the kids would play together. All the kids would come to my house and play with me because I had a little playground. Even the kids that were a little bit older than me, they would come and push me on the swings. We'd play tag, all of that, right? And after a while, they started getting freaked out because I would say, oh, don't forget to push my friend Lisa, or oh, don't forget to go tag my friend Lisa. And they were just like, Jasmine, like, I'll be back. I gotta go home real quick. So I'm telling my coworkers all this, right? And they're like, oh my God. We get off the call, and one of my coworkers messages me on Teams, and she says, hey, I'm curious. Did you ever go and look in the cemetery directory or something like that, to see if there was in fact a little kid there by the name of your imaginary friend, to see if they're actually there? And I was like, you know what? Like, I never thought of that. I did that. I went to the directory of that cemetery, and I type in my imaginary friend's name. Long and behold, a little girl pops up with my imaginary friend's name. So my grandma passed away in December of 2000. My friend Lisa, date of death is 3 months prior to my grandma passing away, right? Okay, stay with me. I dug a little deeper because I was like, okay, she's there, but where is she, right? Where my grandma's plot is, my friend, my imaginary friend, her plot is like 3 blocks down from my grandma, which is not far at all.
My grandfather called me on the day of his funeral. All right, y'all, so my grandfather, he passed in like 2020. His name was David. We used to call him Grandpa Dave. So the last time I saw him, we went to the casino. I believe we was at the boat in like Indiana or something like that. So I remember he was showing me how to like play the slots, whatever. First we had like a nice little dinner, whatever, and then we went right to the slots. These treasure chests are worth the most. I looked at them and I swear to God, I was like, okay, so what if you get all 4 of these lines, all treasure chests? Y'all, he looked me dead in the eyes and said, you'll win a lot of money. And the machine was like, ding, 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 ding. Hit off, y'all. I swear to God, it hit instantly. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Y'all, that was the last time I saw him. Fast forward, his funeral, which is in 2020. So I remember I'm sitting in the car. I'm about to get ready to go to the funeral. And I just like got like the last of my stuff, maybe like a tie or something like that. And we finna get ready to go, and I get a call. And on the phone, it said David Casino. Y'all, I think I picked up, and I just remember nobody saying nothing, and it was just static. I'm like, David Casino? Like, so I just remember the call disconnecting, and I tried to call back, and it was my little sister.
This part of him getting a call from his grandpa is similar to my mother. My grandmother and my mom were very close. They talked every single day on the phone, no matter what, several times a day. And my grandmother passed away in 1999. And a couple of days after my grandmother's funeral, my mom's phone rung, and it was my grandmother's number and name. You know, back then they had to call ID. Keep in mind, my grandmother had passed. Everything was disconnected. They removed everything out of the house she was living in. My mom was stunned. She said she answered the phone. Nobody said anything. It was quiet. She kept saying hello, hello. Nobody said nothing. And my mom said the call disconnected, just like this gentleman said. And my mother broke down and started crying. And my dad and them told her, so that was basically my grandmother, her mom, saying goodbye for the last time. It's crazy.
Like, and I'm like, what? I'm like, Mecca? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, did you call me? She was like, no. I'm like, then how did I get a call from you? And it said David Casino. And then the most freakiest part, y'all, I swear to God on my life, like the freakiest part was, it didn't even say that no more when I look back at the call log. And I told that story at his funeral. I told the story like, and nobody in the funeral, I don't even think really believed me. I remember I even told my dad, I was like after my dad was like, he was like, yeah, that was a cool story. I was like, no, like that happened for real. Like, I don't even know if you believe me, y'all, but I swear to God. And I feel like that was him, you know, trying to give me a story or something to say like when I got there, because everybody knew when I started talking about him in the casino, he loved going to the casino.
I have epilepsy. I've had it since I was 25 years old. I'm 47 years old now. But I have the type that is the grand mal seizures. It's bad. When it happens, it happens. Back up a year and a half ago, I'm at home. My husband's not home yet. I tell my daughter that was there, I was like, I don't feel good. Something's kind of off, not right. I'm standing on my porch. Next thing I know, I fall over into the landscape, crunch the landscape down, and I guess pass out. So I come to, my daughter helps me up. I'm like, oh, something's not all right. I'm calling my friend who's a nurse and call my husband, like, you got to come home. Get to the couch, have a seizure. And so from this point on, after I went to the couch, it's kind of, it's blurry. They said the seizure went on for 20 minutes. I do remember coming to, I'm in the EMS. I don't know what they'd given me because they thought it was allergic reaction. This story goes on and on. The wheels are turning. We have to hurry up. We have to get her somewhere. So I'm inside the ambulance, laying on the gurney or whatever, and I'm out of it, but yet I'm not out of it because I knew I was in the ambulance. I could hear my husband outside the door. I could hear the EMS women talking. There were two men. There was a paramedic woman and an EMS woman. As I'm laying in there, I'm like, I had this feeling of like, why are there other people in here with me? I couldn't see them. They weren't talking to me, but I had the feeling. Keep in mind, I am very intuitive. And I could read somebody. I can tell them, you know, oh, you're lying, you know, things like that. But I'm laying there, and to the left of me was the presence of a lady. She was little, petite, solid white hair, about to hear, very nice. She wasn't talking to me, but I could tell the feeling that she was giving me was, it's fine. You're going to be fine. It's okay. Just wait and let them make the decision. You're going to be fine. Okay, so I'm like, I cannot believe. In my head, I'm thinking, I cannot wait to tell my husband, who I could hear him outside. And I was talking to whoever wasn't in the ambulance with me, like, where am I at? Where am I going? Why are you in here? You know, I kept saying that, like, why are you in here with me? Why are you in here with me? And I'm thinking in my head, like, I cannot wait to tell my husband that they've had other people riding here with me. This bill is going to be $1 million, and there's a woman riding in here with me. This must be some kind of pickup. I started smelling. I'm like, the ambulance is on fire. I was like, no, it's not fire. It's cigarettes. Somebody's in here smoking a cigarette. This is insane. What kind of service do we have going on here? So I could feel behind me a gentleman. And honestly, this guy smelled like smoke so bad because it was smelling up the whole EMS. And I'm like, I couldn't see him, but I could feel his presence behind me. He wasn't mean. He wasn't said anything like that. He was more like aggravated, like, come on, we gotta go, we gotta go. And more like, almost like representing me, like, we gotta go, we gotta go. But yet my feeling is towards him was like, here's somebody else that's catching a ride up there. What's he going for? Because he smelled like a big cigarette. I'm thinking, you should have changed your clothes. And I kept talking about clothes, and the EMS girl would say, you're fine, because she was responding to me when I was talking to just the general of who all I thought was in the EMS. Like smoke. So much that he was such a heavy smoker in my state of whatever, that I felt like his fingers, somebody that smokes a lot, their fingers are just stained with nicotine smell. So he was kind of giving off the impression to me inside there of, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. She's giving off the impression to me how she was making me feel of, it's fine, you're gonna be fine, we will get there, everything's gonna be okay, we've got good, but both of them were giving me the reassurance of like these people that are with you, that are driving you, they're great people, they're gonna be, because I'm saying out loud, like, why are these people in here? Like I said, the paramedics answered me like, oh, honey, what do it's fine, you're fine. They're dismissing all this stuff. So, back up, I get home, the paramedic reaches out to me. She's like, hey, just checking on you because we're friends. This is what we put down at what it was. I told her what they did at the hospital, it's paralysis. And she said, I can't help but keep going back to what you were saying, who was with you. And I'm like, yeah. Why did you let him ride? I started digging into it. She said, I want you to know that both myself and the EMS, the lady that was driving, there was 2 of them. She said, you described both of our parents, her dad and my mom, to a T.
Can you imagine being those 2 ladies and you picking up someone that is sick and they are talking to both of your deceased parents and describing them to you, and they are deceased, but they do not know it at the time? I couldn't imagine how I would feel in that moment. Like, this person is talking to my deceased parent. What can you do in a situation like that? Like, I would have been stunned and wouldn't even know what to say in that moment. Like, this lady doesn't even know that she's talking to my deceased parents, and she are describing them to me like she said, the lady said, to a T. These stories are wild.
We were too afraid to tell you anything or say anything because we weren't really sure ourselves, because they both have passed away.
Okay, I'm gonna try to finish this real quick in 3 minutes. When I moved to Indianapolis, the apartment I moved to was just like crazy. It was something very weird about it from the start. Okay, so I was noticing it was affecting my children. It was just like so much shit going on. Okay, so the scariest part, we went through this for years, but the craziest shit I remember was when I was working at a shop and my kids was there. It was getting late, everybody left, and I was trying to get my kids together to leave, and so I was telling them to come on so I could put the alarm on the door. Okay, so I'm telling them to hurry up. They're in the back being kids, arguing and fighting, but my oldest was acting really funny. Like, he was going through teenager shit, and he was just trying to buck and just being extra. So I'm like, well, I was tired of the attitude, so I'm telling him, I'm like, hurry up and get your stuff so we can go. So I cut the alarm off, and me and my baby was outside the door, so I'm waiting on my oldest to come on. So he's walking like just real stiff, like a zombie, like barely moving. So I'm like, dude, come on, let's go. So he finally made it to the door. When he made it to the door, the alarm was getting ready to go off, and I shut it, and the door hit the back of his foot. He just gave me this crazy look. I closed the door and locked it. My baby went and got in the car, so he was like, Mom, he's going. He kept going, so he just kept going. He kept walking, he didn't stop. So he walked to the curb. So he's like, now this shop was on a busy intersection with a lot of traffic, and he just kept going. So I was so mad at him at the time, I just let him go, like, just fuck it. So I get in the car, I'm getting ready to pull off, but something told me to look, just turn around. So I turned around and looked at him, and he's standing on the curb, and it's a busy intersection. And so when I looked, he had his arm reached out. So I'm like, so I put the car in reverse. I go back, I park, and I'm walking. I get out the car, I'm walking to him, so I'm calling his name. He's not not saying nothing. So I get up close to him and I put my hand on his shoulder. He turns around and just tears just streaming down his face. He was like, Mom, he was like, I know I was about to leave. He was like, I know you was about to leave. He was like, but I couldn't say nothing. He said something in the back of me was pushing me to go on the street. He said, but something in front of me was stopping me. He was like, I couldn't call your name and I knew you was about to leave.
Wow, watching your mother leave you because she's thinking you just being a typical teenager and you not being able to say nothing to her. I can only imagine how that child felt. He couldn't tell her to come back or wait on me or nothing. And that was her intuition kicked in, because what if she would have just literally left that child there thinking he was just being a typical teenager and something had a hold of him?
And it's hard to even talk about this because it took me a long time to talk without crying, but this lets me know that people become possessed and sometimes they can't talk about it.
Like I said, I have stories that I can tell and sit here all day about my experience. One experience was when my mother had a home built on the land that she's on, and we did not know the land was haunted. And a lot of times I could see this man like at my window trying to get me to come out. My TV used to go off. My door used to shut on me when I would be in the room. One time me and my mother was playing and ran down the hallway, and you could literally hear somebody running behind us. But come to find out, a guy was playing Russian roulette of the game with a pow, and it was his turn to pull the trigger, and he unalived himself. We did not know this until after we talked with somebody and saying something's going on in this house, like it's haunted or something, and the person told us that. But like I said, I could go on and on with so many stories, but that's it for this video. Have you all encountered any paranormal activities in your life? Let me know down in the comment section.